Dorothy Heathcote sometimes used the Good Samaritan story to demonstrate the concept of frame distance. Here are her notes on frame 5, the recorder. She observes, "The language generated here is that of formal evidence, such as the Doomsday Book, where posterity demands a truthful picture in spoken, written, or painted form. Care in correct terminology and style can be demanded, not only in vocabulary, but in the form of verbal presentation." At a teacher training event in 1991, she gave the following example for frame 5. The starting point for the drama was that an incident has occurred in an inn where a group of Roman soldiers had gathered. The Good Samaritan has appeared together with the victim of the assault, and a fight has broken out when the Roman soldiers are accused of not protecting people properly. They've had to retreat in some disorder, and they have complained to the authorities and indicted the innkeeper for keeping an unruly house. A Roman consul is now conducting an inquiry which will be sent to Rome so that a judgment can be made.
As soon as you're settled, I've got to think aloud. And I have to consider what has to be established first. And of course, what you establish first depends very much upon the social ability of your class for getting on with one another, and what kinds of tensions will appeal to them. Now, I haven't got a class that I know like that, because you were just volunteered, as you might say, to be part of that class. I'm going to start with as little disturbance as I can. And I think what I'll do is I'll probably ask the class if we've got, and I've got to be careful here, if we've got any way of bandaging ourselves up a bit, you know, as if we've been in a bit of a fight. And so I'll start first by establishing which you're a right sorry lot. And you're on parade in front of the Roman consul, and I never saw a sorrier lot of soldiers in my life. He's got his arm in a sling, and this one has 2 black eyes, and that one has his sleeve all torn, his leather jerkin all smeared, and this one's limping, and that one has his hand all bandaged up. So the first thing I would try to establish, in an interesting way, and I mean I can't tell you that I'll do that with you, is sorry lot parading, because last night they were in a bracket. I shan't be too pleased, so I'll just be inviting that. And I think the next thing I'll establish is an innkeeper. And the soldiers have started to get their own back on him, because to defend their own behaviour and coming in looking like this without proper polish and spit, as you might say, they're indicting him for keeping an unruly house. So the next thing we'll do is we'll create an innkeeper who's not been able to, he's been in the guardhouse all night, he's not been allowed any food, so he's pretty ravenous, but he hasn't been able to check out whether his inn was locked up properly last night, or indeed how many drinking vessels were smashed. His wife doesn't know where he is, and life is pretty rotten if people like him. So those are the things I would do. And I don't really think I need to think any further. I could start from that. So now I say to myself, what is the least problematic way for my class in terms of the conventions to get themselves lined up with the self-spectator just beginning to be alerted. So they actually enjoy being soldiers who've been in a bit of a blackout. Now, of course, I've got a mixed class, so I can either ask the class if they would agree just for now to be masculine, all of them, because it's the Roman army, or should I consider some are soldiers and some are people who were doing no harm to nobody when great wrongs were done them, and some of them could be women. And at this stage, because I haven't got I've got you people, but I haven't got a class that I know, I'm not sure which of the two I'll choose. So I reckon that I could begin. So the convention I think I'd use, now you've got your convention sheets, and I'll have to pick mine up because I never remember them yet. Let's have a look. We've got some convention sheets for you in a minute, time. Let's see which convention. I think I'll use convention 8. No. I'll start with convention 9. So if those of you who are going to observe will get back a bit with your big pieces of paper and your thick pens, so that you're out of the action, you might say. Choose who you're going to watch. You know it's in your group, the person in your group. Just watch them. And as you watch, consider the sorts of questions you want to ask them later on. That's all you need to do at that point. The observers will write whatever they're seeing. Okay. To do with frame, of course. I mean, the whole thing's full of frame. Right, how many have we got in the class? You're in the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 7. Right. I don't know whether there's a picture in here, but I want to I thought it would be quite interesting. I expect all of you have seen somebody thumping somebody in a fight at some time or other, have you? Right? And if I said to you, a Roman soldier, right? Will you just draw, and you needn't be a good drawer, you know, draw any bit of any part of a Roman soldier you feel, now that says to me, Roman. So just put that bit in. Don't draw a whole soldier, just draw the bit that you think, that says Roman. And it needn't be, you know, clever at all. Just Roman will do. Right. Okay? And when you think you've got it, you know, now then think about the Roman soldier hurting somewhere because somebody thumped him, clobbered him. Just draw a bit of him that looks a bit hurt. Don't know to which bit, within reason. I mean, let's keep it decent. It needn't be joined up to the other bit, either, you know, just, oh my God, when I moved my arm, you know, that sort of feeling. Hurt right through, my God. And as you draw it, see whether you can hear him, you know, oh, just, you know, in your mind, just hear. And it needn't show. I mean, sometimes you get a terrible kick in the kidneys, can't you? And it only show when you try and stand up. Has yours got a right bad nerve somewhere? Right, okay. Now then, if it's bandageable, will you try and wrap it up a bit with whatever he's had to hand to do it with? You don't need to worry about anybody else. Nobody's going to be looking at it saying, well, that doesn't look like it, you know. Anything at all that he found to sort of deal with it, I think. Okay. Now, will you just have a word with each other, you know, like just walk about a bit. I mean, you don't have to stand up necessarily, but just sort of say exactly, you know, what does it feel like? Actually, mine's my elbow. I really don't see, you can't see it, but oh, I didn't notice it at the time. I feel as if it's almost pending, no. Makes me so down, no. You know, just try to make yours a worse wound than anybody else's. I mean, if anybody deserves a day off, it'll be you, right? Convince your mates. Just, you know, I don't need to hear it. Just pass it on and show them the picture of how it feels, for God's sake. Did you manage to convince him? Has she told you about it? Would you say her wound is worse than yours?
Well, she's trying to make it sound like it's mine, but mine is actually bloodless now. She's still showing blood up the
What happened? What happened to him?
Well, you have to do
Yeah. No. Well, where is it like?
I broke an arm in. I can't read this on. I think he's the whole thing.
Just a minute. Who did it? What's happened to him? I mean, has it been stood on, kicked?
Oh, stood on, yes, the cushion and everything. That was the first thing that happened when he trod on. See, I can't move it. He's twitching.
Where does it hurt?
I can't
Where do you work?
Completely numb.
Oh, well, you could go on duty, I suppose. You'll have you on duty if you tell him it's
no,
not
maybe
going
I have. They
to
must have moved.
It's not right through to your head.
I couldn't go on doing it.
Yeah, I could just hear the centurion when he sees you. What happened to you then?
Well, I mean, it's me arm completely. I mean, I
Well,
couldn't.
it's not as bad as mine.
That's what she said, but I couldn't. I mean, I can't move it at all. And then it's one of those things that's completely stiff. I had to bind it really tightly just to keep the swelling down.
Only
But
bruises.
well, it's not. It's torn ligaments. It's all.
You can move it.
Well, I can't. My thumb is throbbing. And
Is
it's
that
it's
why
a
you-
little thing? But sometimes it's the little things that are the most painful. I can't grip them at all.
You could get lockjaw or something like that, you know.
Well, I don't know what I could get to it.
Mine, a bit of lockjaw for him wouldn't come amiss, really. What happened to you then?
Well, I had a drink. Why did I do this? I was on the floor and I felt a lot of wetness and I thought it was my drink and then I got discovered after it. Probably what the disorder then it was.
Well, the centurion's going to want to know why swords were drawn. What were you doing in full armour? Thought you were supposed to be off duty. If you were on duty, you should never be in there. You know what he's going to say. You haven't got half a tail buttoned up at all. Were you on duty or not? Come on. Were you on duty or not?
There was a row going on in there. So we went
Yeah.
to sort it out.
There was a what?
A row going on.
We heard of the disturbance.
Oh, all in the line of duty. I see, I see. And you were severed artery. Which artery? Let's have a look. What have you used for a bandage?
Oh, I had these copies on the
No chance, you get gangrene. Everybody knows that copper put on raw wounds is not a good idea. If you've been cleaning your sword, what's wrong with you?
Oh, Doctor.
You realise you all have to be paraded this morning, don't you? I can't let you off this. You have to stand in front of him and tell him what went on. You realise this, don't you? Get the best tail you can, won't you? I mean, you want him bleeding out if possible. Are we agreed when you go in front of him? Okay, right. What happened then?
Well, I want to back in, but I mean, a lot of peasants are there now.
I don't want to know about the peasants. I want to know what happened to you. If you want to know why you were up to this, what happened to you?
It was a private quarrel, so
Which bit is hurt?
yeah, I'm here being cut like this for fun.
We can't go on with completely harmless soldiers. It's supposed to be the best cohort guarding Jerusalem, for God's
It
sake.
was right nuts in there last night. He suddenly came up with this knife, and I put my arm up. I just put my arm up to protect my face, and he just.
Everybody knows that the Roman who survives takes cover. They don't put their arm up, they take cover.
Oh, Jude wasn't.
Well, where's the wound? What did he do? I mean, is it a cut?
Yeah, it's just a cut bit from my foot. So much of fun, yeah. I haven't looked at
It is not going to be a good day. You realise this. You are not going to be popular. And I don't think you'll get sick leave with pay. I'll do my best for you, but I can't see it myself. What happened to you then?
Oh, someone kicked my head. I moved it inside it. Look, and I can see.
Did you just spit on the floor?
Well, I don't know either.
Rule number 4. Shall we all invent rule number 4? About spitting. To spit, that would be a good rule. I'll get it one way or another. the idea that you're allowed to spit in spittoons. You like that? As long as you know, you get good at aiming. She spat on the floor. That is a double problem. Have you hope you can clean it up with? Well, it's not going to lie there like that. It'll have to be shifted. It'll be in any minute. What's wrong with you?
I can see. I'm looking the sky. I can see it.
What happened to her?
Everything.
What happened?
Someone did.
You are a 5'9" soldier. Are you telling me somebody kicked your head?
Yeah.
There wasn't a phone at the time, right?
You quarrel about the girl.
Well, I saw him push on the floor. I think
You're a wrong tell-all.
I thought I was the other.
Just because it comes from God, you all lot come from Rome, there's no need to get at him. Go on. Did you see who kicked your head? Actually, it does look kicked.
No.
Now I look at it.
No, we are all friends in the tavern. I didn't see.
Off duty or on duty? Why do they give me all people like you? What happened to you? Hit you with a what? Hit you with a nerve?
Oh, somebody shouted, look out, and I turned around and...
Who the hell carries a hand?
Why, there was one standing around.
Where was this said urn at the time, apart from flying through at your...
On a table.
An urn on a table? Was it funereal?
I don't know.
I don't know what things are coming to. Which inn were you in?
One by the crossroad.
By the crossroads?
Crossroad.
You mean you were on the Jericho Road? What the hell were you all doing on the Jericho Road? You were either on duty on the Jericho Road or you shouldn't have been there. Who the hell walks all that way to get a find? He's wanting to know all this, you know. It's not a good day.
We weren't servicing into the city.
Well, whose fault's that? Oh, you've no grass and sense. What happened to you then? Is that your eye? I mean, did somebody give it you?
Yeah. Yeah. And the eyes being closed up, haven't we seen?
You
What
realise
happened to
we
you?
need a full cohort for the Temple Guard next week. I can't parade you lot.
Well, some of these are...
Have a go at standing up. I can't say I can march you in. I must say, you do look around. Sorry, lot.
We are trained to fight.
Have you got a bit of anything you could sort of bandage yourselves up with, or? No. Try using your bit of paper and turning it into some sort of a bandage. I know if with a bit of sellotape, we could stick it on your eye, but you know, just that sense of we're all weary and worn, and if I had some pins, I would put them on. Have I got any sellotape? With no sellotape? Never mind. Well, I'll just have to check in with your arm. Oh, I don't know if he's going to say it. Sorry, have a look at one another and see if you've met the most of it, you know. The most wounded soldiers that ever Rome saw. Now when I look at you, if I were on your side, you know, as you might say, I would say, there is one who stands here favouring an arm. It's pressed against the side, as if in great pain. The face shows sign of stress. And there is one who stands here, also favouring. Oh, goodness me. The same right arm, disorder. This one seems almost to be weeping with the pain. And there is one who stands here, and I feel the pain in the very back as well. As if the hand cannot grip. There is one who stands here as if blood might flow, the precious stuff. And there is one who stands here who seems as though would faint. I keep them standing long. And there is one who stands here who seems almost resigned. But it is just bad. And there is one that I hesitate to ask to see the eye. Eyes are so tender. Oof. Right. Just rest yourselves a minute, but don't forget that bit, you know. Did you feel that I was truthful in that I saw what you were trying to tell me? I mean, did I manage to see what you were explaining to me? Enough. Right. Now then, you do realise that soldiers who've been in fights like this are strictly illegal, you know. Strictly against the rules. It's as much against the rules as spitting. Soldiers are not supposed to land themselves in social disorder. You realise this, you have the old book thrown at you. I'm just wondering where you think we should place the officer so that when we come in, trying to show whatever you think you want him to understand about how bad it is, you better have some very good excuses. He's not a man that likes to see his soldiers like this. You realise that as far as he's concerned, he is the Roman army, don't you? Right. Where shall we put him so that when you walk in, it feels a long way? Pick a spot. Then we'll pick all the pens up and we'll clear the space and we'll go and see the officer. Behind the table. Okay, let's get the table. We'll pick all the things up that make it don't look like rolls, you might say. You've got your bandages on. Now, while we're getting the table ready, will you try and remember as much as you can? Can we help? That's okay. Place it where it needs to be. Okay. So I'm going to sit there, if you don't mind. And it's not a centurion this time. If you listen really hard, you'll probably hear how much the officer knows about what happened to you lot last night. Try shutting your eyes so that your ears do the work, you know. I know you've got all sorts of problems with your arms and your headaches and that. Jerusalem to Jericho. 7 soldiers, I'm not sure if they're on or off duty, fighting Samaritan, wounded man, innkeeper, women shouting abuse. What the hell has been going on? Fetch them in! Come on in! Come on! Just stop there a minute. As you keep on coming, because I'm not going to give you anywhere to sit, I will tell you that. Just decide what sort of a name you'd like to be known by. I don't know a great many Roman names, but maybe you can think of one or two that sound a bit Romanish. Can anybody think of a name that sounds a bit Romanish? Pardon? Say it again. Matthews. That's your name. Okay. I'll try and remember it. If not, I'll have to ask you about it. Who's got another one? Julius. Marcus. Anthony. Brutus. It's fine, it's grand, it's lovely.
Sextus.
Sextus. Brutus. Have we got all of us a name now?
Caius.
There's something at the back there. Pius. did you
Caius.
say? Caius. Okay, well I'll be Flavius. Right. Come on! March! Now, make it painful, you know. You're going to have a good sob story on this, because I ain't going to listen otherwise. You're going to try and make my heart melt. Okay, come on, march! Who's that at the back? Come on. Well, I just hope you've got a good tale to tell me. I understand there was trouble at the inn. Right? And I have been informed by the centurion that you were found brawling. Break up abroad. This is what you end up with. It must have been some brawl. Pardon? Outnumbered. Roman soldiers are never outnumbered by populace.
Very stretched in this area.
We'll get this straight. Okay, so you look tired and weary. You may be seated, if it helps. Bring a stool. I will just consult my water clock, which should have stopped 5 minutes ago. I'll just take another 2 minutes. There is a version, I have been told. has given evidence that insults were thrown, and that you fought because insults were thrown at you. Is this true?
Well, not at us, at the Emperor.
Give me one of the insults you heard spoken against the Emperor.
It's not really something you can repeat, sir.
I have been a soldier for 40 years. You may repeat it to me.
Well, one was left that it was the way back to where we come from. That was good.
Did you see who said this?
No.
You realise a report will have to go in, and I have to have evidence of every single thing that happened, especially if you want sick leave.
Well, people in there we've never seen before, you know.
In where?
In the inn.
Place yourselves where you were in the inn. Who was with who? Who was alone? Were you standing? Were you seated? How was it? And if you were drinking at the time and had a vessel in your hand, take it in your hand. Very well, I understand. Take it in your left hand then. You were standing near a table. Describe exactly the first thing that happened as far as you remember.
Well, someone pushed into a back.
Someone pushed you in the back.
Well, I'm not sure. Pushed into me, certainly.
And what did you do?
Well, I turned around and punched him.
Very soldierly behaviour. Did you see anything of this? What happened to you? The first thing when you knew there was something odd going on.
I fell to the ground.
Show me.
I fell to the ground. I felt my arm sweat.
Did you see this soldier fall?
Well, I turned by this time.
Well, turn. Did you see the soldier
I
fall?
heard him fall. I heard him fall. I turned around and saw him on the ground.
What happened to you?
Oh, I was kicked in the back of the knee, so I fell forward like this, and I was drinking. And I fell on this side.
Fine Roman army you lot have.
It's all I've been-
What was the first thing that happened to you?
Somebody shouted, "Look out for me,
Did you know if it was a man or a woman? Did one of you say it?
There was someone over there, I'm not fine.
Someone over there. Do you remember who it was?
It happens to be quite clear, I may never forget if I told you, but I just thought there were lots
Was
of
it
people
male
there.
or female?
Male. It was not someone I've seen.
Did you
in
get the
area before.
feeling of a warning? Can you say it as you heard it?
Just sort of like, take that.
Not look out.
I said look because I...
You said look out because you heard take that.
Yeah.
And what happened to you?
I turned like that, and someone hit me with an object.
Did you see who hit you? So there was a big man standing here. Can you remember how they were standing? Actually, in a thing like this, it probably, you'd feel as if it went very fast, I suppose. 1 minute you were all right, and the next minute these sort of things went on. But you do realise in this report, we'll have to construct absolutely everything. So probably, in time, you may find you remember more, because sometimes you do, don't you? You think you don't remember anything, and then gradually, when people remind you, you start remembering more. She reminded you of something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just remembered what happened earlier.
Yes, you actually knew she fell near where you are.
Yes, I've forgotten that.
As near as that. Yes, yes. Did you say you were trodden on? I can't remember. Your hand was trodden on. Can you put your hand where it was when it was trodden on?
That might have been me. I do remember actually walking over a body.
So in fact, you may have trodden wounded by your own side, as you might say. What happened to you?
Well, I was looking through the window because I thought there was something strange outside. It seemed that there are people running, so I was looking. Then something flew over my head, a chair.
But you said there were all these insults going on about the emperor, and this I don't understand
It
yet.
was all planned. It was definitely planned. There were people there we've never seen before. And there
But there would always be people you've never seen
there was
before.
no, it was different. There was a different feel to it.
Bad atmosphere.
Yeah.
There
And
aren't
we've
really
been,
enough of us to patrol this area.
No.
Really.
and we've been told, I mean, the thinking for it. I mean, good job you've got him locked
I
up.
was
The
looking
innkeeper.
to see if we are surrounded because there are something strange.
These strangers,
We were told to come here. We were given a message that there might be trouble and we should come and...
and what was this trouble that you were given the message about?
We weren't told, just that there was going to be trouble.
An assault.
And something is missing.
The innkeeper reckons that he received a wounded man.
Well, that's what they said, an assault and a robbery.
But did you see any of this? There are witnesses who say that the man was wounded unto death, and yet in the morning you seem to have been wounded unto death. But the innkeeper says it was not a soldier. Now, do you remember anything about this man?
There was a vague rumour of somebody coming through
Are
the
you
door.
sure you weren't fighting over the Samaritan?
What's the matter?
If I ever catch you lot
Don't think
being
it was-
racist, did you see a Samaritan?
No, I don't think it was a Samaritan, no.
You were near the door. Did you see the Samaritan bring the wounded man?
I did.
The innkeeper reckons you must have seen the Samaritan.
But we would have seen him if it was our into Jewish pub, isn't it?
Might have heard it.
The innkeeper swears that it was a Samaritan who brought a wounded man.
Well, we got here after, when we got here, I heard somebody say that there was a wounded bloke upstairs, and that may have been part of the reason why they've never go at us. Because as you were saying, we've done the
But this man was already drinking.
Well, we
He
only
was.
got here, so we didn't see anything.
What I suggest you want to do, whether you can write or not, and I'm not bringing in 7 scribes for the like of you, you must sit and remember every single thing, and we shall order it in the way it happened. Somebody must have seen the Samaritan. You were already here. What's the difference between you being able to be in here drinking and they say they were only fetched in after?
Well, I came earlier than this, but I sometimes come in here off duty, just Sunday, no evening.
Very well. You may rest now. And later, we shall see exactly who did what to whom and where and why. Now, we'll leave it there because we should have stopped. Those of you who were observing, don't lose what you observed. Those of you who are now going to try and question people, will you just very quickly, and I realise it's late, just grab while they're remembering anything at all that you want to ask them and record it. In particular, we're looking at the framing so that we can reconstruct this event as it happened. Thank you very much. With anybody else?
Beatrice really said she came into it more than any other time was when a collective explanation was needed for the excuse for what was happening. And when, if you like, that sort of teamwork started to operate, I think we
Yes,
got
and they all began to get together on this bit.
exactly.
Yes.
And, that was the
groupings there, weren't there? You suddenly felt there's a bit of a coalition going on at the end. Sort of nods and winks were beginning to be possible. Lies lies were being told, yeah. Now, of course, as the officer, that posed quite a problem to me. I mean, I could see it. And I brought it on myself. Because you see, the sergeant, I'm calling him the sergeant, you know, sort of said, you'd better have some good tales to tell him or else. And even when I said it, I thought, oh, Dorothy, you know, you're going to get it. And with some classes, that's just what you want, because you'd win them through being able to beat the authorities. But with others, they would slip into guile, and you'd throw them all through. You'd never get the right tale. And I'll probably have to manoeuvre in all sorts of ways to get rid of one error, really, quite early, a misjudgment of what the class could support, you see. Now, with you people, we can go along with it. With some, I would have completely moved it at that point. Were there any other moments where people felt authentic? Just a moment of realisation, that's all. It's nothing more than that.
I think it's the moment almost when you actually notice the character rather than sitting there and talking about it.
When I asked you to stand up. If you look back through the stages, they seem important to me. Because it's always seemed to me right that people should not be asked to produce results of any kind without going through the gates that necessarily breed the possibility. So to me, taking a bit of paper and drawing where it turns would be the least start you could ask anybody to make. Just draw where it turns. Of course, I'd moved into the expressive mode. I never drew mine. Mine was in the mode 3 moves further on from the start. Oh God, I feel as if I've been getting my sure, I've lost my elbow. Now I'm expressing it in action on myself. So I'm more advanced. I don't mean I'm better. I'm 2 stages further on than saying just draw where it is. But of course I drew before that, draw a bit that says I'm a Roman. It's Roman, not I'm a Roman, but there's Romans round here. Because I didn't ask you to be the Roman soldier, I asked you to draw something that said a bit Roman. And of course you all drew whatever you did. Somebody drew the leather strapping that they wore over the skirt. And so on, you know, you drew bits and bobs, whatever felt a bit Roman to you. And we'd have all drawn different things, really. I mean, I'm sure I would have either have drawn the short sword, or I would have drawn the plume. Because I could do that fast, you know, not being a good drawer. So first there was the Romanist bit. Then there was the where it hurts bit. And then there was the explaining, which brought it into the expressive, just to know. Now these moves to me are desperately important, and nearly always they're not paid enough attention to. You know, we want all of it too early. To me, everything's like a series of gates. And when you look back, I foreshadowed the innkeeper. My reading of the report was not terribly well done. I know what I've got to catch up and so on. I know that at the moment we've got this fuzzy ball, but I'm prepared to tolerate it because the thing I'm working for is more and more from me offering little bits of the story to keep the story authentic, because I'm not going to sit and tell you the story of the Good Samaritan. No way! A little bits there, that's my problem as I see it. But gradually, more and more moments when you catch in a bit of mine. So when I say, did you see the Samaritan? I don't care if you did or not, but what I want to know is who did. And what would then be the rationale behind that? Now, you are 7, but that inn must have had 100 people in it, by the way you're talking. I mean, it must have been a right nightmare. I have to find a way of creating 100 people. Now, I can't do it by saying to you, forget your wounded hand and start being 10 other people. That would be ridiculous. So I have to find a system to do that. So if that were the end of my lesson, the bell rang, my concern is to say, how will I find this 100 people? Now, just before I stopped you, I have resolved my problem. I don't say I've solved it, but I've resolved what I think I can do. And I will return to the drawing. And if you remember, I said, this report has to find exactly who was where, doing what to whom. And by saying that, I paved the way for let's place everything in the inn as we know it to be when it's normal. Now let's put us there, 7 of us. Now let's put the people we've said we remember. Somebody nudged you or thumped you, we don't know just what happened. That person will have to go into the drawing. Now, if we get the drawing with all the 50 or 100 people in it, and as we draw them in, it's based entirely on your memory, I'm actually going to manage to do 2 things. What you tell me will get recorded in pictures. So I'll get the recording done through the pictures. Does that make sense? And later, we can put on the record what was said to whom and so on. So the actual shouting from over there, I don't know what the person said that you heard. Take that. That's right. Whose mouth will take that written into it? So gradually this thing will become very richly drawn. Does that make sense? But the drawing allows me to say, as I hinted to you, make it sound like you heard it. So gradually, you see, all the things you hear said by other people, I will get you to place on record through your voices. Does that make sense? And gradually, the thing will be built up. Now, it will change, because I can't keep you just drawing forever. I have to keep you learning. And so, I think one of you hinted that there were some rough customers in tonight, almost as if the thieves had come here. I don't know if that was in your mind, but for me it was a gift. That's why I said, are you telling me? Of course there would be strangers in. I mean, look where the place is. So I'm leaving it open that if you decide, you said there'd been a report about somebody, I can't remember what you said, you didn't say injured, you didn't say much. That's right. There's been some, that's right, some sort of assault. Yes, very good. Now, at some stage, I may find myself saying to you, fragments of a report are coming in. We're getting fragments. Now that's when I might introduce the story of Good Samaritan cut up in fragments. These are statements witnesses have made. There appears to have been, but we don't know who said this, a Levite. Whether he came in or not, we don't know, but he seems to have walked that road. And he's passed something, but we're not sure what. So I might actually take the actual biblical version. In this case, I'm using the Good News version. But I can actually take that and cut it up, as he has said. you know, and money was exchanged, it was heard, and whatsoever I owe you, I will repay when I come back. So I might find that would be a natural thing to do. What I'm going to be digging for the whole time is this business of cause and effect, and the pride of Rome, under the heel of Rome. That's what I'll go for, because I've chosen this particular phrase, you see. Now I'll leave that there tonight. Now tomorrow, just for those who weren't in at the beginning, I'm going to ask you to join somebody who was in at the beginning, so that you can catch up, even over breakfast if you like, and try to get this business of frame from them. It'll do them good to explain it to you, because then they'll know what they know. And then I'll ask you to look at these frames and say, well, that one seems very hard to start. I don't know how to get that one going. I've no idea. And that's what I'd like you to start with tomorrow, for me to come round and find out what the problems are that you see. Now, one of the things you must have realised is I do take a long time. I find it nonsensical to work fast. I'm working fast. But you don't get authentic building, each block laid in, to reach quite quick results, unless you work slowly at the start, would be my feeling about it. You see. Because you've got to get to a point where you can stab right in to what this is really about. And though it looks like a parade of guys that are, you know, trying to get off of it, it's going to end up with a quite horrendous report about a horrible situation. But, you know, we've got all this going on. We've got so-called priests that are supposed to be helping, and we guard them. We look after them. We parade when they want a bit of a show. We don't believe in their faith. We don't understand it. But we turn up, polished and splendid, just to show that we are in charge round here and you can worship here because we say so. It's sickening. And that, you know, you're not trying for anything less, at least in my view, you know. Because anything less, you might as well use Jesus' story, because it says it all as a story. So if you dramatise it, it must be because something else can emerge. And whether it emerges as compassion, or whether it emerges as all prejudice laid aside, or whether it emerges as we watch and we'll never understand these people. It can emerge at whatever level you think is in that story, because the drama yields it differently than the telling. Because however well the telling is, and it's a complete experience, it can't have all the layers in just one telling, but it can have a lot of layers in dramatising it, you see. But you're ruining a good story. No. You better know. Okay. We'll see you in the morning then.